Elon Musk surprises Black Millionaire by revealing love's secret that changed a homeless life. Michael Evans stood under the glittering chandeliers of New York's Grand Marquette Ballroom, the hum of luxury swirling around him like a storm ready to break. Cameras flashed, voices whispered behind silver glasses filled with champagne. Everything perfect on the surface. But inside, Michael's heart raced. His hands trembled slightly, fingers curling around the stem of his glass as a sharp twist of doubt clawed at him. Just hours ago, a secret had spilled into his carefully polished world, one that threatened to shatter everything he'd built. The headline had exploded across social media like wildfire. Elon Musk surprises Black Millionaire by revealing love's secret that changed a homeless life. The words glowed with seductive mystery, dragging in every curious eye. Michael's story, his love life, was no longer a sealed vault. Suddenly, whispers rustled in air. The sparkling ballroom seemed suffocating, walls closing, judging. Then, Jamal Carter cut through the crowd. Jamal, with a smile that held secrets deeper than the Hudson River at midnight. The man's charisma was magnetic, drawing whispers of his own, rumors darker than the crystal wine glasses they shared. Jamal's laugh was easy, but his eyes flickered with a restless shadow. He walked over like he belonged to a different world, yet clearly felt trapped by its invisible chains. Michael barely registered the luxury around them. The golden drapes, the polished floors reflecting designer shoes, the orchestral music weaving through conversation. All that mattered was the sudden spark igniting between them, awkward yet electric. Jamal's voice was low when he spoke, cracking through the noise. "You look like you're carrying the weight of the city on your shoulders." Michael nodded, swallowing a lump in his throat. "It's the pressures." Jamal hesitó, de confidente mas clipena por un flicker. Las expectaciones, bien cuerpo, son como cadenas que no ves, atrientan. Los murmos se espartiviaron con sorpresa y se quedó aire de nueva. Los ojos de Michael quedaron cerrados enlobatados. El aire pasaba intenso con historias. De voz froze en ese momento. Dos hombres cotados entre ambición y algo raro, algo real. Conectas tetos oscuros a los cielos de su amistad. Amenazaban todo lo que pensaba. A su familia, su vida. Outside, la noche crecía más oscura con las nubes del temblor. Dentro, la party seguía agas. Miquel sentía la aflicción de esperanza. Could the truth bind them instead of divide? Could they trust what was breaking open between their worlds? The room held its breath, waiting. And so did Michael. What secrets lay buried in Jamal's past? What truth tied them to Michael's mother? Would their fragile connection survive the storm about to break? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact! The room held its breath, waiting. And so did Michael. Just as he was about to speak, a loud crash echoed from the ballroom entrance. Glass shattered. The sweet notes of the orchestra halted in shock, and all eyes turned to the chaos erupting behind the golden drapes. A young woman burst through the crowd, her face flushed with urgency, panic clawing at her throat. She looked familiar, yet Michael couldn't place her. "Jamal, you need to come with me! It's urgent!" Her voice sliced through the elegant murmurs, raw and desperate. Jamal's eyes widened, confusion swirling into concern. "What are you talking about? Who are you?" "Cynthia, she's in trouble." The name hit Michael like a punch to the gut. Cynthia, his long-lost sister, who vanished years ago, leaving a void that echoed through his life, a mystery he'd buried but never forgotten. The crowd shifted, whispers swirling like smoke. "Isn't she the one who—" "Michael, we have to go!" Jamal's voice broke through the noise, urgency igniting a fire in his eyes. He grabbed Michael's arm, pulling him toward the chaos that had just erupted. "Now!" Fear surged. Michael's heart raced, blood hammering in his ears as Jamal's grip tightened. The air felt electric, thick with secrets unraveling before his eyes, threatening to expose the past he'd tried so hard to outrun. Jamal led him through a throng of shocked guests, pushing past sparkling chandeliers and untouched champagne flutes. "What is happening?" Michael demanded, struggling to keep pace as they pushed through the throng. "What does this have to do with Cynthia?" Jamal hesitated, his gaze darting to the woman, a mix of regret and determination on his face. "I didn't know she was your sister." "What?" Michael's throat tightened. "What are you saying?" Before Jamal could respond, the woman spoke again, her breath heavy. "It's not safe anymore." "They found her, Michael. They want her back." Panic rose like bile in Michael's throat. Who wants her?" "Your mother. She put things into motion that we can't control," the woman gasped. "And now it's too late." Michael stumbled back, overwhelmed by the weight crashing down. His mother, a figure wrapped in a myth of success and power, was somehow connected to their sister's disappearance. The threads binding them, the whispers of their past that had once felt tenuous, now snapped into focus with a clarity that blinded him. "What do you mean?" he choked out. They arrived at the ornate exit, voices echoing around them now, to an audience riveted by the drama breaking before them. The ballroom was drenched in uncertainty. Michael felt exposed. The past he'd tried to forget was clawing its way back into the present. Jamal stepped closer, his face shadowed with concern. "You need to trust me. This isn't just about her. There's something bigger at play here. Something dangerous." Just then, a siren blared outside, slicing through the tension. A sound that felt like a warning. Guests turned toward the sound, whispers now morphing into panic shouts. "Is that police?" someone murmured. "Why would the police be here?" Michael's heart raced. In that moment, everything shifted. Was the life he had built a lie? Were these connections born of secrets he never wanted to uncover? Could Jamal, the man beside him, guiding him through this storm, be a part of something he feared? He felt the ground waver beneath him, laws of trust and reality twisting. The ballroom swirled around him, the laughter and joy now a distant memory. He stared into Jamal's eyes, searching for answers, searching for trust. But all he saw was danger. "What did you get me into?" And just like that, the night spiraled out of control, shattering the fragile web of secrets that held them all captive. Would they survive the truth? Would they want to? As the sirens grew closer, Michael felt the world fading, darkness creeping in, and he knew nothing would ever be the same. The room held its breath, waiting, and so did Michael. Then it happened. A sudden eruption of sound. A crash. Glass shattered against the polished floor, splintering like Michael's thoughts. A group of guests shrieked, the sparkle of their champagne flaring in the dim light. Everyone turned, eyes widening, hearts racing. Jamal tightened his grip on Michael's arm, the warmth between them abruptly replaced with a cold edge. "What just happened?" Michael's voice barely rose above the chaos. "I don't know," Jamal said, scanning the crowd, a flicker of fear igniting in his eyes. Then came the shout, sharp and slicing through the lingering noise. "Get down!" A figure burst from the crowd, panic etched across his face. His shirt hung askew, and there was something wild in his demeanor. "They're coming! We have to go now!" A wave of murmurs rippled through the guests, screams, confusion, the sound of heels racing toward exits. The golden drapes fluttered like flags in a hurricane as people scrambled for safety. Michael's heart hammered. Before he could fully process what was happening, a dark figure appeared at the far end of the ballroom. The man stood still beyond the startled throng, eyes burning with intensity. A chorus of gasps echoed as the spotlight caught his face. It was someone Michael knew. "Keith?" Michael blurted, recognition hitting him like a slap. The man had vanished from his life years ago, a family friend once close to his mother. The man who had fallen from grace. But how was he here, and what did he want? "Michael!" Keith shouted, his voice strained, desperate. "You have to leave, now!" The tension swirled, heavy on the air, thickening like fog between them. "What do you mean? Why are you here?" Michael stepped tentatively toward him, each movement feeling like it dragged through quicksand. "Your mother, she's in danger." Keith's words cut through the chaos, and suddenly the world around them faded. Fear shot through Michael's veins, freezing his movement. "They're coming for her. They think you know something." A chill ran down Michael's spine. All the pieces he'd ignored, the whispers from family, the promises he'd made to protect his past, they flashed like lightning in his mind. "What do you mean? What have you done?" Jamal's hand slid away as he stepped back, uncertainty shadowing his face. His tone shifted suddenly, darkening. "You can't tell anyone I'm here." Michael felt the room spin, the vibrancy dim to a dull throb. Memories of family gatherings, laughter, whispers of secrets long buried, flooded back. Keith had been a part of everything, part of the lies. The truth slashed through him, relentless. Suddenly, the crowd erupted again, screams mingling with the crash of another falling decoration, sending waves of panic spreading, washing over everyone. "Get him!" someone yelled. The urgency pulled at the remaining guests, who now perceived Keith as a man threatening their world, their safety. "They don't know who I am," Keith cried, hands raised, as if surrendering. But to whom? The reaction came swift and brutal. dark shadows converging from all sides. "Michael, run!" Jamal pleaded, his voice breaking through the chaos. But Michael's legs felt rooted to the ground, confusion and horror anchoring him in place. Could this unraveling be the truth he feared? Would it shatter everything he thought he knew about himself and his family? Outside, the storm was brewing in full force. But inside, a hurricane of human emotions swirled. Michael stood frozen, the eyes of past and future converging, wondering what lay behind those secrets, and what would emerge from the dark. Michael stood still, confusion crashing against him like waves. Keith's wild eyes, the urgency in his voice, it all felt unreal. "What do you mean, danger? What have you done?" "Michael, we don't have time." Keith's panic was palpable, the weight of his words hanging heavily in the air. "Your mother is involved in something she can't control. She's made enemies, and they're now targeting you. We need to get out of here." "Targeting me? Why?" Michael's mind raced, heart pounding. The room was spiraling, shadows dancing around him, people screaming, chaos rising. Jamal stepped back further, the space between them growing wider as the urgency thickened. "Because you're the key," Keith said, voice lowering to a tense whisper. "Everything hinges on what you know. You must." Suddenly, another crash. This time, it was a window shattering, sending glass shards flying. The crowd gasped, some ducking for cover, as adrenaline surged like wildfire. "They found us!" "What? Who?" Michael shouted, looking for Jamal, but he had vanished into the crowd. The chaos accelerated, turning the once elegant ballroom into a frantic scene of fear and confusion. "Get to the back! I'll distract them!" Keith's voice was rising above the mayhem, but fear knocked in Michael's stomach. "Why are you hyping me?" "Because I care! Trust me!" Keith snapped, glancing around nervously. He sprinted toward the front, hands raised, shouting for attention. "It's not what you think! I'm not your enemy!" Michael hesitated, confusion igniting his instincts. Shadows of his past flickered through his mind. Trust and betrayal mingling like oil and water. He started to follow Keith, but stopped. Something felt wrong, something deeper than the chaos around him. Before he could make a decision, the ballroom doors burst open. A team of plainclothes officers stormed in, men and women, determined, focused, weapons drawn. "Everyone on the ground now!" The crowd exploded with panic, people screaming and pushing toward exits, the sound overwhelming. Michael's heart raced. He stumbled back against an ornate column, the cold marble grounding him as the world spun. "Michael!" Jamal's voice broke through the chaos, his wild eyes seeking Michael in the crowd. "We have to move!" But before Michael could respond, Keith shouted from across the room, "Run! Get out! Now!" He was surrounded, the officers closing in, urgency twisting his features. Then the unexpected happened. One of the officers stepped forward, ripping off her sunglasses, bright in heaven, and Michael's breath caught in his throat. Her eyes locked onto his, and recognition flooded him. It was Sophia, his childhood friend, someone he hadn't seen in years. The betrayal was instantaneous, heavy. Sofía, él chocó, disbelief curliendo a la sed de su conciencia. «What's going on? ¿Por qué estás haciendo esto?» Ella hesitó, una flequerada de incertidumbre en su cara, pero y se escapó. «You should have kept your head down, Michael. Hay líneas que no se cruzan. Y tu madre sí las cruzó». «¿Líneas? ¿Qué quiere decir? ¿Mi madre?» «Esto es acerca de mi madre». «¿De nada?» Keith lanzó a Sofía, una planta desesperada. «Oh, no puede perdonar». But the officers were faster. They tackled him down, the sound of bodies hitting the ground echoing through the stunned crowd. «No!» Michael shouted, a surge of fear crashing over him. «Stop! Let him go!» Sophia's eyes were cold now, unwavering. «This is bigger than you, Michael. You have no idea what your family is involved in, what they're capable of». In that moment, everything crumbled. The truth, the love, the loyalty, the ties that held his family together began to unravel, revealing a darkness he never imagined. Michael felt the world close in around him, suffocating. «Michael, run!» Jamal called again, his figure moving through the panic toward him, desperation etched onto his face. And then, with a flash, everything twisted again. Michael felt his chest tighten, fear blurring his vision. Did he even recognize the people he thought he knew? Or had he been living a lie all along? As he turned to escape, he gripped Jamal's arm. «Why are you helping me?» he gasped, trying to pierce through the chaos of swirling faces and shouts. But Jamal's expression shifted, shadowed with uncertainty. «Because," he hesitated, eyes darting between Michael and the turmoil. «I'm not who you think I am!» The revelation hung in the air, electric and raw. The pieces of the puzzle flashed. Family ties, mysterious secrets, buried truths. Michael felt the ground shift beneath him. Was Jamal a friend or a foe? The ballroom swirled around him, panic igniting as everything shattered into chaos. The truth was out there, lurking like a beast, ready to strike. What he did next could change everything. Would he dare to uncover the truth? Would he even survive to find out? The room held its breath, waiting. And so did Michael. He could sense the gravity of the moment hanging in the air, like the scent of rain before a storm. Jamal's gaze flickered with worries unspoken, and Michael felt a magnetic pull, a connection both thrilling and terrifying. Then, without warning, the lights dimmed. The hum of laughter turned to whispers, confusion rippling through the crowd. The sudden darkness sent a jolt through Michael, tightening his chest. Jamal stiffened, his surprise mirroring Michael's own. It was just a malfunction, he thought. A little hiccup in the proceedings. But as the crowd murmured and started to pull out their phones for light, a voice cut through the noise, sharp and demanding. «Everyone stay calm!» From the far side of the ballroom, a tall figure emerged, silhouetted against the faint glow of emergencia lights. When the figure stepped closer, Michael's blood turned to ice. It was Elaine, his mother. She'd left the family business years ago, vanishing into the shadows of his past. Seeing her, an old wound throbbed. Years of unanswered questions, pain flooding back like a tidal wave. «Mom?» he whispered, each syllable heavy, barely finding its voice. But Elaine wasn't there for a reunion. Her eyes, usually warm and inviting, burned with urgency. "Michael, we need to talk, now!" The room stirred with a mix of surprise and judgment. Michael's heart raced, confusion swirling inside him. Jamal's expression shifted to one of shock and concern as Elaine moved closer. "You're going to want to hear this," she said, her tone resolute. "About what?" Michael shot back, anger slicing through his bewilderment. "You disappeared, and now you just walk in here at my moment?" Jamal shifted uneasily, the tension thickening as he assessed the unfolding chaos, yet his concern was palpable. Elaine glanced around, her eyes darkening, as if the weight of her secrets pressed down on her. "I'm here because there's something you need to know about Jamal." All color drained from Michael's face. "What about him?" he demanded, fists clenching at his sides. An iron weight settled in his gut, dread creeping in like a slow poison. He's not who you think he is," Elaine said, her voice trembling slightly, yet resolute. "He's connected to our past in ways you can't imagine. There's something he hasn't told you." The room grew silent, the murmurs fading into an anxious hush. Every eye was on them, watching the unfolding drama. Jamal's face paled, the easy charm slipping away. "What do you mean?" Elaine took a deep breath, the kind that seemed to invite the storm. "Jamal, you must say something, now." Without warning, the lights flickered back on, illuminating the shocked faces of everyone in the ballroom. The panic that had been bubbling under the surface erupted as whispers spiked into gasps. "Isn't he related to your mother?" someone blurted, eyes darting between Michael and Jamal. Michael's heart thudded in his chest. No, it couldn't be. Confusion morphed to anger, twisting in his gut. "What is this?" Jamal opened his mouth, but words got lost in the chaos. A lump formed in Michael's throat, choking off his breath. This was not how it was supposed to go. Outside, the storm rolled in, rain lashing against the windows, mirroring the turbulence inside. Standing there, stuck between truth and betrayal, Michael felt a piece of his world fracture. What was hidden in Jamal's past? Could their connection survive this revelation? The atmosphere crackled with tension, the crowd's eyes glued to the unfolding nightmare. Nothing felt certain anymore. Jamal's expression shifted in the harsh light, revealing fear mixed with something deeper, something unsettling. And then, the unmistakable sound of sirens echoed from the streets outside, approaching closer like an ominous omen. In that moment, everything changed. Michael could feel the tide turning, old truths surfacing, new realities crashing in. What had been a mere chance encounter was spiraling into a truth that could destroy everything he held dear. As the sirens wailed and emotions clashed, Michael felt the ground beneath him shift. What was about to break open could topple their fragile connection. But could he trust Jamal? Would he dare? And in that instant, he realized nothing would ever be the same again. The room held its breath, waiting, and so did Michael. That electric tension hung, every heartbeat flickering between hope and dread. Jamal's gaze turned serious, cutting past the laughter and glamour. You know, sometimes our past slinks into the present, and it's hard to outrun it. His voice dropped, heavy with secrets. Before Michael could respond, a sudden crash erupted from the far side of the ballroom. The exquisite chandeliers swung, casting chaotic shadows across the floor. The lovely atmosphere shattered like glass. Laughter turned to gasps. A figure stumbled into view. It was an older man, disheveled, clothes torn, face bruised, like a ghost rising from the underbelly of the city. "Help, please!" he cried, voice raw and desperate. Eyes wide with panic, he staggered closer, barely able to stay upright. "Get security!" someone shouted. But the crowd was paralyzed, drawn in by the urgency. Michael's heart hammered. Something primal surged within him. He stepped forward, instinct kicking in. "Sir, are you okay?" Michael's words spilled out, but the man's gaze fixed on Jamal, wild and searching. "You need to listen," he shouted. "It's about your mother." A hush fell, thick and tangible. Jamal flinched, his confident facade crumbling like the ornate pastries on the dessert table. Michael's breath caught in his throat. The words hung heavy, vibrating through the air, wrapping around them like chains. "Your mother was—" The man struggled for breath, eyes darting, panic flaring. "She was involved. I couldn't let them take the truth. I tried to protect you both. They won't stop looking." The atmosphere warped, tension twisting into something sinister. Jamal's face paled, a sudden crack appearing in his calm demeanor. Michael felt the ground shift beneath his feet. "What are you talking about?" he demanded, but it came out weaker than he meant. "Everything you know is a lie." The man's voice grated. "You've got to listen." Around them, whispers spread like wildfire. Shocked faces turning, the crowd inching closer, their collective curiosity becoming a heavy weight. "Get away from him!" a woman shouted, shifting the crowd into a flurry, fear pooling in their eyes. But the man stood firm, driven by a desperate need to be heard. "Jamal, your father, he's not who you think he is!" The confession erupted like a gunshot, and the ballroom fell into an oppressive silence. Michael, paralyzed, could only watch as Jamal's face twisted in disbelief. "Shut up! Just shut up!" Jamal's voice cracked, layers of control peeling away. The panic in his eyes twisted into a storm of rage and fear. "Get away from me!" The man pressed on, voice shaking. "I lost everything because of him. He's tangled in crimes you can't even imagine. It's connected to your family, to Michael's mother too." "What?" Michael's voice was a whisper, disbelief flooding through him. The ballroom spun, but Jamal was frozen, denial written across his face. Around them, faces blurred into a whirlwind of wide eyes and murmurs, gossip igniting like wild flames. Who was this man? What truth was buried under their lives? Michael's chest tightened. Secrets that felt so far away suddenly loomed larger, deeper, and darker. Would this be the unraveling of everything they believed? And before Jamal could respond, a sharp sound sliced through the tension. The shattering of glass. Someone screamed. In that chaos, everything fell apart, and the weight of revelations began to wrap around them like a noose. Would they find the truth, or be pulled under by it? The world hung in balance, secrets threatening to drown them, and Michael felt the cage close in tighter. A low hum filled the room. A tension threaded through the air as Michael and Jamal held each other's gaze, both feeling the weight of questions swirling around them. It was as if the bustling party faded into a distant echo, leaving only the charged moment hanging heavy between them. But before either could speak again, the unexpected happened. A loud crash shattered the atmosphere. Glasses clinked, then shattered as a muffled scream ripped through the ballroom. The crowd turned, a rush of common fear creeping in, eyes darting to the source of the chaos. A figure stumbled into view, clad in black. It was a woman, panting as though she'd chased the wind, and her face twisted with desperation. "Michael!" she yelled, her voice thick with a mixture of urgency and despair. "You have to listen. It's about your mother." Michael's heart dropped. Every moment slowed, ticking forward with a heavy dread. The chatter silenced, breath held, as the eyes of the crowd fell like stones upon them. Jamal stepped protectively closer, instinctively sensing the brewing storm. "What do you mean?" Michael managed to say, throat tight, mind racing. "I've been trying to find you." She reached out, her hands trembling. She was involved in something dangerous. You need to know the truth." The room erupted again as whispers slashed through the air, each one sharper than the last. "Dangerous?" someone gasped. "What does she mean?" A string of fragmented sentences spiraled around them, each voice tinged with judgment, curiosity, and alarm. "Wait." Michael felt his pulse quicken, uncertainty clawing at him. "What do you know about my mother?" The woman took a shaky breath, her gaze becoming frantic. "I didn't want to believe it either, but she's been hiding things. Secrets that could ruin everything." "What secrets?" Jamal demanded, an edge of protective fierceness in his voice. "If you're here to spread rumors—" "No, this isn't gossip," she interrupted, her brown eyes locking onto Michael's with fierce intensity. "This is life or death. Your mother's ties to the past, they're closer than you think. She never told you because—" Before she could finish, the lights flickered violently, casting the ballroom into a void of shadows. Gasps echoed, panic unfurling through the crowd. In that moment of darkness, someone burst through the double doors at the far end. A man, face obscured, his steps heavy, urgency propelling him forward. He shouted something, but the sound drowned in chaos. "This is it!" the woman cried, her voice nearly drowned out as the man stormed closer, determination etched into every line on his face. "What's happening?" Michael shouted, fear clawing at his insides, heart racing. "Your mother's past is not what you think," the woman shouted above the noise, desperately. "She's been part of something that could destroy you, destroy your life." In that instant, everything shifted. The air thickened with dread, mounting tension swirling around Michael, as the truth hit him like a punch to the gut. People might be watching, judging, and the weight of 1,000 expectations crashed down upon him. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. Would this revelation rip apart the world he thought he understood? Jamal's grip tightened around Michael's arm, a silent promise. But the remnants of hope flickered like the dying light, leaving questions clawing at existence. What darkness had his mother hidden? How deep was the web they were caught in? And as the chaos crescendoed around them with every echoing scream and shattering glass, Michael realized one thing above all others. Everything he knew could shatter in an instant. Would he dare uncover those secrets? The distant echoes of truth loomed, ready to strike. The air felt thick, heavy with unspoken truths and urgency. Michael's heart pounded as he stared at the woman, her frantic eyes reflecting desperation. "It's about your mother!" she shouted again, her voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. And just when it seemed everything could unravel, a sudden sound pierced the air, a loud bang like a gunshot, echoing through the ballroom, sending ripples of terror through the crowd. The sheer force of it knocked a nearby table onto its side, drinks flying everywhere, screams erupting as guests ducked for cover. Michael's breath hitched. What the hell was that? Within the confusion, a tall figure emerged, cloaked in shadows. His face, he roared, voice booming as his presence commanded attention. The crowd froze, eyes widening in horror. Was this another threat? And then, reality shattered. The figure peeled off his hood, revealing a face Michael never thought he'd see again. Dad? For a moment, time stood still. Michael's mind reeled. It felt like the ground had shifted beneath him. This man had disappeared from their lives years ago, a ghost haunting the edges of Michael's memories. What was he doing here now? The chaos faded into a dull hum as Michael tried to comprehend the revelation. Was he looking at a father he thought lost forever? Michael, listen to me. We need to go. His father's voice surged with urgency, cutting through the noise. Your mother has made a grave mistake, and now we're all in danger. Gasps cascaded through the crowd, faces morphing from shock to suspicion. Jamal stepped back, eyes darting between Michael and the man claiming to be his father. You're alive? Alive and in hiding, the man shot back. I had to protect you, protect your mother. It was the only way. Michael's heart raced. The revelations poured into the room like a flood, reality twisting around him. Protect us from what? From who? Words spilled out in disbelief, the shock rattling through him. But before his father could answer, the crowd erupted again, shouts rising as confusion turned to panic. A couple of officers moved in closer, weapons drawn, ready to arrest. Or worse. Sophia's eyes locked onto Michael's, torn between camaraderie and duty. You're going to get yourself hurt. We need to get them out of here. In that moment, another loud crash echoed. A group of masked men burst through another entrance. Chaos igniting once again. Faces grew pale. Panic pulsated, fueling the terror. Michael, stay close! His father shouted as the masked intruder surged forward, eyes wild with violence. Everything moved in slow motion. The world blurred. A split-second decision crystallized in Michael's mind. No, he shouted, finally bursting through the sea of confusion. We need to get everyone out. They'll hurt them. As he pushed through the mass of bodies, he felt Jamal's hesitation. But then he felt a firm grip on his arm. You're not alone in this, Jamal declared, voice steady, resolve shining through the chaos. Michael glanced back at his father, a mix of longing and betrayal flooding his thoughts. What other secrets did he hold? How could everything change in a moment? Confusion whipped around him like a storm, emotions colliding. I'll find you, Michael cried out, heart racing, desperation spilling from his voice. Then something shifted. His father looked back, eyes glistening with regret. "You're stronger than you know, Michael. Don't let the darkness pull you in." Just then, a blinding flash lit the room as the masked men swarmed, cutting them off from escape. Michael's heart dropped. In that instant, the truth cracked open wider than ever before. Everything he'd understood crumbled like ash around him. What had he just unleashed? Would he be able to save his family, or was this the beginning of something far worse? The chaos grew, shouts merging into a cacophony of despair. Michael felt the walls closing in, the weight of secrets pressing down. As the darkness loomed, he knew one thing with certainty: nothing would ever be the same again. The chaos grew, shouts merging into a cacophony of despair. Michael felt the walls closing in, the weight of secrets pressing down. As the darkness loomed, he knew one thing with certainty: nothing would ever be the same again. Then, from the surging crowd, a woman gasped and pointed, her voice trembling. "It's him!" she cried, terror spilling from her. All eyes turned to the entrance, where a tall figure stood, his face masked in shadows. The air shifted, and silence swept through the ballroom like a wave. Everyone instinctively holding their breath. "Mom!" Michael shouted, trying to see. Then it hit him, a feeling like ice running down his spine. His heart raced. It was the man in black, too familiar yet too distant. He stepped forward, slowly lowering the hood that obscured his face, and Michael felt his heart drop into his stomach. The unthinkable unfolded before them, color draining from every face in the room. "Dad?" he whispered, the word choking him as the reality blurred. "Michael." His father's voice was gravelly, thick with years of pain and perhaps guilt. A haunting regret hung in the air. "It's all true. We don't have time." Then, cutting him off, the woman stepped closer to Michael. "He's not just your father," she hissed, urgency cracking her voice. "He's been lying to you both." A wave of murmurs spread like wildfire. The attention of the room shifted, eyes wide, breaths held, every guest hanging on her words as if they were lifelines in the storm. "Lying about what?" Jamal's voice rang out, disbelief raw in his tone. "What are you saying?" "Everything you thought you knew." She shook her head, her voice breaking. "It's a facade. Michael, I was the one who tried to find you before. Your mother, she's not innocent in this." Shock rippled through Michael's mind. No, this couldn't be. "What do you mean? How could she—" "Your mother made deals." The woman's fear morphed into something fierce. "She's intertwined in something dark, and it's connected to men who won't stop until they have what they want." "What do they want?" Michael pressed, desperation clawing at him as he turned to his father, the man he thought he could trust. "Control," his father snapped. "They'll destroy everything, Michael. That's why you were kept in the dark." Before Michael could respond, something shifted behind him. An officer raised their weapon, barking orders as confusion swirled back into pandemonium. "Everyone on the ground!" The masked figures surged forward, their wild eyes now fixed on Michael and his father, threatening to tear through the fragile threads of their world. "What have you done?" Michael shouted at his father, all sense of safety spiraling into nothing. Fresh chaos erupted As the door slammed open again, another woman burst in, breathless, her eyes widened with panic. "They found you! We need to go! They're—" A shot rang out. Time froze as colors drained from the world. The loud bang slicing through the tension like a knife. Fear rushed in, emotions colliding, adrenaline surging. The crowd gasped, confusion spiraling into horror. Michael's heart raced. The woman's face twisted in shock, hands trembling as she fell to the ground. Blood pooling, staining her once crisp dress. "No!" he screamed, horror igniting his veins. Amid the chaos, his father's expression twisted. Something dark and impenetrable flickered behind his eyes. Michael's mind spiraled, piecing together the web of lies woven around him. "Mom!" Panic turned into raw fear, sending his heart racing. But then, just as quickly as it had begun, the tension split open with devastating clarity. The woman's labored breath echoed in Michael's ears, and he felt a sickening twist in his gut. Was she his only connection to the truth? Why didn't they know? What called them here? From the darkness, another figure stepped forward, an unlikely ally. It was Sophia, eyes ablaze with determination. "You shouldn't have been dragged into this, Michael. You have to trust me," she shouted over the chaos. "Trust you?" he barked, heart pounding. "Why?" "For all we know, you're part of this." "No!" Sophia's voice cracked under the weight of desperation. "But I have something to tell you about your mother, about everything." The words hung heavy, and Michael felt the ground shift beneath him. The truth was just out of reach, shrouded in chaos and blood. What was it? Would understanding unlock the monster hidden in the darkness? Michael stood at the center of the storm, the truth threatening to collapse around him. Everything he knew lay in shards at his feet, and the haunting questions loomed. Would he dare step into the abyss? Michael felt the room spin, reality spiraling as the weight of the situation pressed in on him. The echo of the gunshot rang in his ears, the haunting uncertainty gripping him tightly. He glanced at the woman, then at his father. "What do you mean she's not innocent?" Panic rose in his chest, constricting his throat. The crowd held its breath, their faces a mixture of fear and disbelief as chaos swirled around them. Jamal stepped closer to Michael, his brows knitted with concern. "We need to get out of here," he urged, his voice steadying in contrast to the tumult. Just then, Sophia rushed to Michael's side, her eyes aflame. "I'm sorry. I tried to protect you." "I never thought it would come to this. Everyone is in danger," the woman shouted, desperation radiating off her. "They want your mother, Michael. It's a power struggle, and you're caught in the middle." Michael felt the world tilt on its axis. Where was the truth? How deep did the lies run? Why didn't anyone tell me? The accusation spilled from him like a wounded animal, raw and desperate. A scream ripped through the air, cutting deep as panic erupted again. The masked men moved in, their eyes predatory, their intentions clear. Michael's heart raced faster than ever. "We have to fight!" he shouted, adrenaline coursing through him. "No!" his father roared, gripping Michael by the shoulders. "Get to the exit! I'll stall them!" The words surged like a tidal wave through the crowd. Michael opened his mouth, ready to argue, but as the masked figures advanced, he knew there was no time. "Come on! Everyone, this way!" Grabbed by Jamal, they surged toward the back, desperation fueling their escape. Sophia stayed close, her determination palpable. "We can warn them. We can stop this," she urged, glancing back as the chaos unfolded behind them. The crowd surged towards the exit, fear becoming a living, breathing entity. But Michael's mind was stuck. "What about my mom? We can't leave her." "Michael," Jamal's voice pierced the panic. "You need to make a choice. Inaction might cost us everything. Trust me." He faced Jamal, searching for that familiar spark, for the connection that had grown between them. In that moment, everything clicked. "You're right. We go. We find her." They lunged forward together, hearts pounding in rhythm, hoping against hope. And as they burst through the door, a silence fell behind them, heavy and dark. The rain fell steadily outside, almost cleansing, washing away the chaotic remnants of this night. They raced down the street, feeling like shadows in the night, with every step carrying the weight of secrets and burdens left behind. "Where do we go?" Michael gasped, locking eyes with Jamal, searching for guidance, for something he could cling to. "I've got a safe house," Jamal replied, urgency fueling his voice. "It's not far. We can regroup there, plan our next steps." As they ducked into a narrow alley, Michael's chest tightened, the adrenaline coursed through him, mingled with a flicker of hope. "And my dad?" "Let's focus on your mom first," Jamal urged, his grip firm around Michael's arm. "We'll figure this out together." But Michael's thoughts raced. Would they find her? Would they confront the darkness waiting for them? Just as the storm's intensity swelled, a thunderous crack echoed, illuminating the night sky. He felt the weight of the secrets around him. If they survived this, he vowed to uncover the truth, no matter how painful. "Michael, look!" Jamal interrupte his tiempos, punta hacia el horizonte. Un avistamiento de las policías por la luna. Una advertencia del caos dejado atrás. No está terminado. Michael had suddenly become conscious of the storm they were about to encounter. Michael realized he could no longer run. This was their crossroad, one that promised danger, but also the chance for redemption. They vanished into the night, shadows trailing behind them, stepping closer to una novedad guardante. Pero antes que te subas, suscríbete al canal para que no te pierdas el próximo contenido disponible. El poder por ahí, por favor, y que Pix bote con nuestras teorías. Let's hear what you think about this wild ride. And don't wait even a segundo longa to seguir este video con al menos a 5 amigos que necesitan verlo.